Oh, this is great. All right, so most of the people are technical, so that's good. And then as I'll announce this later, but if you guys have questions, I've opened up the chat. You can ask questions throughout the event. So for those that, I think everyone on here knows me. So for those that don't know me, my name is Tim Dodd. Ironically, I have a computer science degree with a concentration in AI. So I've been really interested in AI for a long time. Obviously, things have kind of become more popular and more buzzworthy in the last couple of years. So we had done an event down in Nashville, Tennessee, and we did a hands-on presentation that we're sharing here for engineers, architects at a conference. And based on the feedback from there, I thought it would be something that we could do virtual and invite a lot of my friends that I went to college with or over the years have been stay technical while I transition into more of a sales leadership role. So the goal of today would just be to talk through some of the use cases that we've found that'll help architects or engineers make their day-to-day work lives a little better with AI. So I brought on Moet, who's one of our subject matter experts from an AI perspective. So he's built a lot of these custom demos for clients, and then also implemented a lot of these solutions for our customers and internally at SID. So I thought it'd be good for him to give his perspective for all of his peers. So Moet, I'll let you introduce yourself and we can get started.
All right, thanks, John. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Warm welcome to the session. I'm Mohit Malik, working as an engineering solution lead at SID Global Solutions. I bring over 20 years of experience in IT industry, and I'm passionate about helping our customers on their digital transformation journey. In this role, my focus is to provide cost-effective and scalable solutions powered through generative AI wherever possible, so that the business can grow efficiently and innovate. Today, we'll be focusing on exploring the technical solution of generative AI, and its impact on how we approach data, coding, testing. Right. So basically, in the today's evolving technology landscape, generative AI is actually, changing the way how we interact with data, how we develop these software programs, right? Or how we test the programs that we have developed for their quality and the efficiency. So, my goal from this session is to provide some actionable insights to you, which you can take back to your team to drive efficiency, innovation, quality within your organizations. So having said that, I would encourage you to engage and, ask questions which can be answered towards end of this session. To start with, let me share my screen. All right, I hope my screen is visible. Can you all see my screen?
Looks good. I'm going to end the poll just so it doesn't conflict with the session.
Perfect. All right. So as I said, right, so the goal from today's session is to focus on two key areas on the technical solutions. One, how we can use generative AI to accelerate software development and testing. And, how we can augment complex data processing, which involves data migration, transformation, and, the business intelligence capabilities. We will support, the things that we will walk through today, we'll support it with some live demo of some real-time examples, how it can be done. And then, finally, towards the end of the session, we'll have Q&A where you can ask questions and we'll try to answer all of those. To start with, how generative AI can help in the software development life cycle. So typically, in a SDLC, these are the different phases that we have, starting from analysis, moving on to design, development, testing, deployment, and then finally maintenance and operation. So the activities or the critical tasks that you can highlighted in green are the ones which we feel that, could be, significantly improved and augmented using the generative AI solution in each of these phases. Starting from analysis where, in a software development life cycle, when you start with, creating your backlogs, creating user stories from those backlogs, there are generative AI solutions which can actually, understand your business requirements, help you prepare, your product backlogs. Based on your product backlog, it can help you create user stories by, having those connectors with the, tools like Jira, Confluence, and all. Wherein, and the beauty is like, when you use this solution to create user stories, it will not only create a story, it will also help you to define your definition of done, your acceptance criteria, your dependencies based on the technical and the functional requirement that it can understand from your documents. When moving on to the design phase, this is where, it can help architects and the solution owners to create, low-level designs, which can be a sequence diagram, or for the web development team to create wireframes. And, all these things can be done in a, very quick time frame and in a productive way for the developers, right? Moving on to the development phase, this is one of the critical stage in a typical SDLC life cycle where developers have to generate code, they have to debug. Sometimes, for a change request, they have to enhance the already developed programs. So the way generative AI can help there is like, it can help you to generate the code based on your requirements. It can help developers to debug the code in case of, any troubleshooting, as well as it can help you explain the code. When I say explain the code, in a very typical way, like, when someone has got a change request to enhance or modify the already developed program, which has been done by someone else, developers most of the times developers have a hard time to understand what is there in the code, how it is being developed, and what could be the impact of the change that they are doing. And that's where generative AI can boost the productivity and the efficiency and help developers for these things, where it can explain how the program has been developed, what are the key considerations that, a developer has to look into while making those changes, and what could be the impact of it. Then it can also help, our testing team to generate the test cases based on the, programs, the technical requirements, the functional requirements. It can also help them to generate, synthetic test data that they can use to run those or execute those test cases, right? It can also help developers to write unit test cases while doing the development as well. And then, when a developer is ready to commit their code into their source control repository, be it Bitbucket, be it GitLab or a GitHub, right? It can help to do the code reviews as well. So that's where basically, based on your enterprise compliance standards, industry best practices, these generative AI solutions can review the developed program by the developers when they made a commit to the source control, and it can provide some actionable insights and recommendations based on the review. It can check for any security vulnerability, it can check for your code quality, and provide those recommendations. And finally, once let's say, the code is deployed, it moves to the maintain and operate stage. That's where it can help the operations team to build proactive monitoring alerts and dashboards, wherein, being reactive to a problem, it can help operations teams to be very proactive to the production life cycle of these programs. So for today's session, we will mainly focus on three areas in this SDLC life cycle, which is development, testing, and deployment. And we will show you a few of the real-time examples, how the journey can be augmented in these three key specific areas. And within these areas, the way we have organized this session is we have basically split it into two tracks. One track where we will focus on the complex processes of data migration, data transformation, and the business intelligence capabilities. And the other track where we'll see some of these examples, how generative AI solution can help the team for a typical software development program. Moving on, as I said, right, the track one, which is basically to augment complex processes for data migration, transformation, and business intelligence. So I have tried to break down this traditional process into 4 segments and with 4 different personas, starting with planning and assessment, moving on to extraction and transformation, then ingestion and validation, and finally you have talk to your data stage, where you can generate deeper insights into the data which have been loaded into your data warehouse. And from a persona perspective, on a high level, we have business executives, we have data architects, we have data engineers, and data analysts. And then few of the key or critical activities that each of these personas are involved in at each of these stages. So if you look at the first persona that we have, business executive, so throughout this whole process, how generative AI can help, like these are the few critical activities where generative AI can help business executives. Like it can help them build a migration strategy and roadmap based on the, your enterprise standards, your enterprise compliance in terms of how a strategy needs to be built up, how should be a roadmap look like. It can also consider your previous projects that have been done in the organizations to, take the inputs from them and then provide valuable insights. It can also help business executives to do budgeting and resource allocation based on the organization resource pool, the budget that have been planned for the project and the roadmap that it looks like. Moving on to the further stages, it can help business executives during the executions phase. It can help them to, have better monitoring and tracking by providing some dashboards, insights, without having a hard dependency on the IT or the project teams. It can also help them to better prepare for change management and planning, right? For the data architects, the solutions that can help them is with the assessment between source and target system. That's one of the crucial activity that data architects are involved into in the planning phase, right? So there are generative AI solutions which can help do that assessment, how compatible is the data between source and the target system that have been identified. It can also help architects and the data analysts to define some data quality rules, and then generate the insights using natural language prompt without or by removing those hard dependencies on the IT teams. Coming on to the data engineer persona, that's where most of the development activities happened during the execution phase. So the way generative AI solutions can help them is starting from tooling assessment to identify data inconsistency. That could be identify duplicate data, identify incompatible data types between your source system and target system, transform the data. A very complex example that we can pick is most of the time when you're setting up your data lakes and data warehouse, there are a lot of unstructured data that enterprise have that needs to be fed into your data warehouse, right, in a structured format. So traditionally, data engineers, they're used to write a lot of programs, ETL scripts to transform those unstructured data using technologies like OCR and all to transform into a structured format that can be fed into your data warehouse so that it can be consumed for reporting and dashboards. With the generative AI solutions, this whole journey can be augmented in such a way that there are solutions and the large language models available which are already trained as a foundation on a massive data set, and then can be further fine-tuned on your enterprise on your enterprise data to classify those documents in specific category and then help you transform those unstructured document data into a structured format. It can also help data engineers for data cleansing and the enrichment while doing those executions, right? And your testing team to prepare those test cases to validate your data quality.